it can be done exactly how I want it. The only question is, are you the man to do it?
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the greatest television shows that have aired episodes in the 21st century. We will only be including scripted shows, so reality TV, talk shows, and animation will not be included.
I'm gonna build something better. Something faster, lighter, meaner, wilder.
Number 30, Fargo.
Oh, what's this here then?
Chief, I arrived on the scene at 1300 hours, found this 93 New Yorker. Looks like she fled the road and crashed the fence.
Based on the 1996 movie of the same name, the anthology series Fargo always finds new stories to mine in the American Midwest. With a format like that, it may seem like a challenge to get invested, but it's hardly a problem here. Each season, the show commands your attention and care for the characters and the mysteries that surround them. By mixing small-town settings and grander themes and ideas, Fargo levels up its storytelling. If you think it's just a show about crimes, then you've got another thing coming. It's a funny, dark, and surreal series that is sure to show you a good time, don't you know?
I know you think I'm this kind of perfect woman, wife, mother. But you know, even I got a breaking point.
Number 29, Veep. Being the vice president isn't all it's cracked up to be.
References to Europe in an ill-conceived song performed by VP Selena Meyer have sparked outrage in parts of the continent.
What's the problem?
The lyrics, don't be European, Ian, say screw France, Lance, that whole bit.
Veep is a hilarious comedy that racked up multiple Emmy wins, and for plenty of good reasons. It pokes fun at politics, doesn't pull its punches with most of its jokes, and features a cast filled with icons led by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. To say that the show's characters are colorful would feel like an understatement. While Selena Meyer chases her presidential ambitions, falls into the mulch of political games, and navigates her personal life, the audience just gets to laugh along.
It's Kent's doing. He's trying to screw me. I'm gonna go stab him.
Number 28, The Handmaid's Tale.
I don't want to be a doll hung on the wall. I want to keep on living. I'll do anything. Resign my body freely.
An adaptation of Margaret Atwood's 1985 novel, The Handmaid's Tale is a story set in a horrific dystopia. In Gilead, the totalitarian government rules with an iron fist of theocracy. Many women are unable to give birth, and ones who are have been forced into a bleak life as handmaids. This is a series that does not flinch in its inspection of subjects like gender roles and abuse. But while it can be a tough watch at times, it was praised as being vivid, meticulous, and visually stunning. Ultimately, this Emmy-winning drama has a sharp cast and expands on a compelling, if haunting, story to great effect.
And blessed are those who suffer for the cause of righteousness. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Number 27, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
What are you talking about? Talking about your act. I don't have an act. You will when we're done.
This hyper-stylish, award-winning comedy is more than just bells and whistles. After an abrupt split with her husband, Midge Maisel decides to strike it out on her own as a comedian. Set in the 1950s, this series is filled with colorful sets, characters, and stories. It's a triumphant show with plenty to laugh at and its fair share of tender moments. Rachel Brosnahan takes center stage and is aided by a talented supporting cast, with Alex Borstein in the role of Midge's manager. Maren Hinkle portrays Midge's mother Rose, and the legendary Tony Shalhoub plays Midge's dad Abe. You're going to be in for a marvelous time with this one.
Well done. Thank you, Mrs. Maisel.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Susie.
All we need is the check.
Number 26, Chappelle Show. This is arguably the most important sketch comedy show of all time. Not only due to the quality of the show itself, but also for what it represents.
And it's my favorite family to deliver milk to.
Chappelle's show contained many hilarious, topical, and thematic sketches, and it introduced a host of characters into the pop culture consciousness, like Tyrone Biggums.
I did 2 hits of that. And Bugs Bunny and Scooby-Doo and all my favorite cartoon heroes came to my room and ate cookies with me and sang songs for 16 hours. God!
The skits were smarter, funnier, and certainly more cutting edge than your typical comedy sketches. But it also showcases the merits in artistic integrity and spiritual contentment.
I always wanted to say this. For shizzle.
Chappelle famously walked away from $50 million as the stresses of fame, production, and artistic quality had started taking an effect on his mental health.
My brother had these brand new couches, they were suede, right? And he gets on the couch and says, "Why don't I stretch out?" and just started grinding mud all into the couch, man.
We greatly respect that decision. And besides, you know what they say, always leave them wanting more. Number 25, Schitt's Creek.
You bought a small town in 1991, Johnny.
Yes, I bought that as a joke for my son.
Wait, you actually purchased that town?
When they find out their fortune has been stolen by a once trusted associate, the tables quickly turn for the Rose family. Schitt's Creek is a show where the rich are forced to give up their wealth and maybe learn a lesson or two along the way. Despite, or in many instances because of their quirks, the Rose family quickly endeared themselves to audiences and their new town. Their journey to eventually see the dysfunctional Schitt's Creek as home is a delight to watch. When the show ended in 2020, it set a record for the most Emmys a comedy series had ever won in just 1 year. Plus, it has some absolute laugh-out-loud moments.
Next step is to fold in the cheese.
What does that mean? What does fold in the cheese mean?
He folds it in.
I understand that, but how do you fold it?
Number 24, Sons of Anarchy.
So how are we going to handle the Mayans?
We're hoping actually maybe you could help us out with the problem.
Sure.
Got a garage full of AK-47s. Need a place to assemble and store them.
This action-packed drama chronicles the lives of the titular biker gang for 7 seasons. It tackles issues of violence, family, masculinity, loyalty, and corruption. Leading the ensemble cast is Charlie Hunnam as Jax Teller. He battles wanting to do right by his family and keeping up the legacy his father created in the Reaper crew, which leads to a compelling complexity for his character. Critics gave the show favorable reviews, praising the cast and the engaging themes. Strap in, because Sons of Anarchy will take you on an unforgettable ride.
That's before.
Don't ever sit on another man's bike.
Number 23, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You've said that word implication a couple of times. What implication?
There might be only 3 things that you can be certain of in life: death, taxes, and it always being sunny in Philadelphia. Okay, the consistency of the actual weather might be debatable, but what isn't is this show's enduring popularity. The chaotic lives of the Patty's Pub gang will simply never leave you bored. Fans have got over a dozen seasons to witness the truly bizarre stories, obsessions, schemes, and arguments of Dennis, Dee, Mac, Charlie, and Frank. It's Always Sunny is a weird show, but sometimes the most enjoyable ones are the ones that venture far off the beaten path.
Well, calm down, because here's one thing that's not gonna happen. What? We're not gonna get fired.
Number 22, The Bear. Carmi Berzotto is an award-winning chef, but he finds himself back at his family's sandwich shop after a family tragedy.
But before I came to Al-Anon, I was a cook. I mean, I'm still a cook. I'm just a different kind of cook, I guess.
It's a straightforward but gripping premise. The Bear gives viewers an up-close and sometimes traumatic look into both running a restaurant and dealing with serious unresolved issues. Besides the subject matter, the show is elevated by the performances from its talented actors. This show just wouldn't hit the same without Jeremy Allen White, Eben Moss-Backrack, and Io Adebari at the forefront. All 3 have gone on to win major awards for their portrayals of these compelling characters. FX definitely dished out a winner with The Bear.
This is really, really, really good. Thank you.
Number 21, The Good Place. The Good Place shares a lot in common with 6 Feet Under, only it's lighthearted and hilarious instead of relentlessly soul-crushing.
During your time on Earth, every one of your actions had a positive or a negative value, depending on how much good or bad that action put into the universe.
This is creator Michael Schur's 3rd show, following the acclaimed Parks and Recreation and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it is arguably the best of the bunch.
So who's in the bad place? That would shock me.
Well, Mozart, Picasso, Elvis, basically every artist ever.
It contains their signature rapid-fire wit and cuddly warmth, but it also explores deeper themes about the human condition.
This is a job for a human. One who's tough, but also empathetic, and has a big heart, and a world-class bullshit detector.
It's taken philosophical inspiration from numerous sources, including Aristotle, Jonathan Dancy, and Immanuel Kant, as well as Sartre's existential play No Exit. It was one of the smartest, funniest, and surprisingly humane sitcoms of the decade. Number 20, Stranger Things. Netflix's flagship series, Stranger Things, transported audiences to Hawkins, Indiana for classic sci-fi horror and more 80s references than you can shake a stick at. Steeped in the works of Steven Spielberg, Stephen King, John Carpenter, and other genre masters, the Duffer Brothers series gained an instant following and quickly became a cultural phenomenon. It also managed to kickstart and reinvigorate several acting careers and pick up plenty of accolades along the way, including 5 Primetime Emmy wins and 4 Golden Globe nominations. With its wonderful cast and a story that feels both new and familiar at the same time, it's a show that consistently provides just about the most fun you can have in front of a TV.
I just don't know if this is such a good idea anymore.
Really? Because I feel like it's the best idea I've had all summer.
Number 19, 6 Feet Under. This show has to be one of the most relentlessly morose yet weirdly uplifting things ever put on television. It primarily deals with human mortality and the pain and philosophical quandaries it represents.
You know, people don't just spaz out and hork all over their shoes for no good reason, Nate.
2 words, tofu meatloaf.
The plot follows the proprietors of a funeral home and their interactions with each other and the grieving people who walk through their doors.
God damn it, David, I told you I wanted to be cremated.
It explores many heavy and dense themes concerning mortality, and it certainly isn't afraid to mine the absolute depths of human pain and suffering.
Yeah, society propagates this vision of people hooking up and staying together forever. In reality, how often does that actually happen?
That said, it also finds time for contentment and tranquility, and its brilliant finale remains one of the most beautiful and soul-soothing episodes ever aired on TV. Number 18, Barry.
Leroy Jenkins!
Well, this isn't quite what we expected from Bill Hader, but alright. Barry is Hader's comedy drama, and it follows the titular Barry, a hitman who wants nothing more than to leave his criminal past behind and become a full-time actor. The show shares a lot in common with Breaking Bad, as it contains similar themes and tones, not to mention the whole idea of a man hiding his true identity from those who are closest to him. Of course, this is also much, much funnier than Breaking Bad ever was, given it's more a dark comedy than a drama. It's also packed with incredible actors, including Emmy-winning performances from Hader and Henry Winkler. It comes highly recommended.
What do you got there?
Oh, I've got an audition tomorrow. I'm an actor.
It's on my...
Number 17, 30 Rock. Despite receiving consistent praise and even being named one of the best written shows of all time by the Writers Guild of America, 30 Rock significantly struggled in the ratings.
Gary's dead. I'm Jack Donaghy, new VP of Development for NBC, GE, Universal, Kmart.
We own Kmart now.
No.
It's a shame because it deserves to be seen by as many people as possible. The show is lightly adapted from Tina Fey's experiences working at Saturday Night Live, and it follows the cast, crew, and corporate overlords of a similar sketch comedy program.
Liz, the writers can't take a car service at night anymore. I've crunched the numbers, and it's cheaper for us to just replace anyone who gets murdered.
30 Rock drew consistent praise for its production values, razor-sharp and rapid-fire writing, and the performances of its cast.
All right, let's each say one thing about ourselves that the other person doesn't know on the count of 3. All right? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I'm on a
Touched
waiting
by a
list to
priest,
adopt a kid.
it's fine.
Wait, what?
It made careers, it revitalized careers, and the writing amazed viewers with just how smart, fast, and hilarious it could be. Honestly, it's a comedy masterclass. Number 16, The West Wing.
Yes, I lied. It was a sin. I've committed many sins. Have I displeased you, you feckless thug?
Veep might hold the political comedy crown for some, but The West Wing is iconic for a reason. The show is centered around the fictional US President Jed Bartlet and the tight-knit group who make up his cabinet. It's a more idealistic look at politics, with a cast of quirky characters and snappy writing. After all, only someone like Aaron Sorkin can make people walking down a hallway and talking feel like must-see TV. And with captivating storylines and characters you're bound to connect to, The West Wing has got our vote.
I thought it was a hell of a lot better than 5.
It was good.
It's outstanding.
You blew the D section.
Tell me, they're still in the feed hearing.
Yeah, I said it was fine.
Number 15, Deadwood. Deadwood tells the sort of true, sort of made-up story of, well, Deadwood, a small town in South Dakota. The series charts a path through the town's rough and tumble, not quite legal origins to its official status as a recognized town, complete with historical figures like Seth Bullock, Wild Bill Hickok, Calamity Jane, and Al Swearingen.
You see me empty, sir. Do not pause and inquire. Simply assume and refill.
David Milch uses the story of Deadwood as a microcosm to explore the greater merits of civilization. The very act of disparate individuals putting aside their differences and working together to form a greater and more prosperous whole.
What conceivable godly use? What conceivable godly use was the screaming of all those men? Did you need to hear their death agonies to know your omnipotence?
It also contains some stellar production values, magnificent poetic writing, and an all-time performance from Ian McShane as Al Swearingen, one of the most captivating, interesting, and complex characters in television history.
The world ends when you're dead. Until then, you got more punishment in store. Stand it like a man and give some back.
Number 14, The Boys.
You people should be thanking Christ that I am who and what I am because you need me. You need me to save you!
Superheroes are meant to stand for things like truth, justice, and virtue. However, you should probably forget all of that when you get to watching The Boys. It follows Billy Butcher and his ragtag crew as they wage war on corrupt supes and the all-powerful corporation that fuels them. This satirical take on the superhero genre is absolutely brutal and does not skimp on the violence or absurdity. Evil superheroes might not be everyone's cup of tea, but The Boys has a premise worth getting hooked on, and several seasons of outlandish swings that have kept audiences coming back for more.
The only man in the sky is me.
Number 13, The Office. The Office is one of those exceptionally rare American adaptations that actually worked.
Try my googie googie! Try my googie googie! Try my googie googie! Try my...
Despite a generally rocky first season, The Office soldiered through and presented us with some incredible television.
Would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
The characters were instantly relatable and charming, the humor was hilariously dry, and it contained a surprisingly gooey and warm center, led primarily by the relationship between Jim and Pam.
Are you free for dinner tonight?
Yes.
All right. Then it's a date.
Steve Carell also gave the performance of his career as Michael Scott, who, in our opinion, is one of the most endearing characters in sitcom history.
The worst thing about prison was the Dementors. They were flying all over the place and they were scary, and then they come down and they suck the soul out of your body and it hurts.
It's one of those shows you never want to end, and when it does, you find yourself missing the characters and the cozy world they inhabited. So you start it again, and again, and again. Send help. Number 12, The Americans. It's clear that Breaking Bad has been an enormous influence on this decade's television. And as with Barry, there are comparisons to be made with The Americans.
Pleased to meet you.
Likewise.
I leave you two to get acquainted. There is so much to talk about.
It follows two Soviet spies pretending to be a married American couple in suburban Washington. And wouldn't you know it, their neighbor works counterintelligence for the FBI.
There's something a little bit off about him maybe, but I think he's a good guy.
The show contains all the excitement and glorious cat and mouse tension you'd expect, but it also serves as a contemplative look at marriage and self-identification. The fact that it can also effortlessly balance the two tones and genres is amazing, and both Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys turn in wonderful performances.
We had a job to do. We had a job to do.
This flew under the mainstream radar for most of its run, but it's already a cult classic. Number 11, Fleabag.
You know that feeling when a guy you like sends you a text at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday night asking if he can come and find you, and you've accidentally made it out like you've just got in yourself, so you have to get out of bed, drink half a bottle of wine, get in the shower, shave everything, dig out some agent provocateur business, suspend about the whole bit, and wait by the door until the buzzer goes.
Between Fleabag and Killing Eve, Phoebe Waller-Bridge had herself a fantastic and very prosperous decade. And while both shows are great, it's Fleabag that is often showered with the praise and accolades. Waller-Bridge plays Fleabag, a neurotic woman trying to live her life and having lots of sex in modern London. And while the show sounds like a traditional sitcom, Waller-Bridge's instantly memorable performance and intelligent writing helped turn it into must-watch TV. It never generated endless theories on Reddit, and it didn't wow us with an expensive production. It's just a funny, heartwarming, and well-told story. And we can all use a little bit more of that.
She doesn't want to go.
Why?
Because I'm stubborn, and for some inexplicable reason, I'd rather stay here and have a passive-aggressive party.
Number 10, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Expectations were unbelievably high for Larry David's follow-up to Seinfeld, hence the possibly meta title. This show does share a few similarities with its spiritual predecessor, including a selfish protagonist and humor generated around misunderstandings and social faux pas.
Proud Jews wear yarmulkes.
Yeah, be proud here in the parking lot. You don't need to be proud in there.
Let's just go in and sit down.
Take it off, take it off.
David plays a fictionalized version of himself, a selfish and very set-in-his-ways man who refuses to conform to societal expectations.
You didn't thank him for his service, asshole.
They thanked him. 3 people thanked him.
He doesn't make for the most agreeable protagonist, but his tactless personality certainly makes for many hilarious and horribly awkward situations.
Mommy, that bum man's in the bathroom and there's something hard in his pants.
The talents of the cast must also be commended, as much of the show is improvised around a general story outline. It can certainly be a tough watch, but we've never seen awkward and cringe-inducing humor done so well.
I was in a concentration camp. You never even suffered 1 minute in your life compared to what I went through.
Look, I'm saying we spent 42 days trying to survive. We had very little rations, no snacks.
It is truly painful stuff. Number 9, Atlanta. The premise behind Atlanta is welcoming. The consistently enjoyable Donald Glover plays a struggling young man who decides to manage his cousin's budding rap career.
I don't want a handout, I want to manage you.
Manage? You know where the word manage come from?
Manus, Latin for hand.
Probably, but I'm gonna say no for the purpose of my argument.
Only the show is so much more than that, and frankly, it's quite hard to accurately describe. Glover himself has called it Twin Peaks with rappers, and that is certainly an accurate description. The show veers wildly between surrealist comedy, hard-hitting personal drama, introspective character study, nightmarish horror, and a thematic look into the social media-obsessed hip-hop culture. It's original, it's fresh, and above all, it somehow remains consistently enjoyable despite its peculiar trappings. It is one of the most bizarre yet rewarding TV shows we've ever seen.
I think we're taking slow strides, but you have to believe things are getting better, otherwise you'll just die inside.
Number 8, Lost. Lost is enormously influential, and various shows are still trying to recapture its lightning in a bottle magic. This is the event show to end all event shows, garnering endless speculation and theories, 6 years of pent-up public excitement, and upwards of 20 million viewers a week at its peak. And while Lost is mostly remembered for its fascinating mysteries, reveals, and plot twists, it also contained an incredible cast of characters who made us cry on a near-weekly basis.
Penny?
Desmond?
One only need think of Desmond and Penny's phone call or Locke standing up on the beach for the first time to start feeling the fuzzies.
We were not supposed to leave.
Yes, we were.
It may not have stuck the landing, but we shouldn't let a disappointing conclusion overshadow its inarguable qualities and influence.
We have to go back, Kate.
Number 7, Game of Thrones.
So long as I am your king, treason shall never go unpunished. Sir Ilyn, bring me his head.
When it comes to event television, few shows compare to Game of Thrones. This show helped bridge the gap between TV and film, as it contained a stellar cast and the greatest production values ever seen on TV. Game of Thrones told a highly complex and intriguing story full of twists and shocking developments, and it was fascinating to watch its popularity rise throughout the years. While it started slow, interest in the show slowly began to rise until it became the decade's biggest TV event, breaking all sorts of viewership records, launching careers, and promoting endless discussion on forums and social media sites. It didn't quite stick the landing, but it provided us with 8 years of peak TV.
The Brandon of House Stark. I say aye.
Number 6, The Leftovers. Hopes were high for The Leftovers, Damon Lindelof's first television project since Lost. And while Lost fizzled out, many people were willing to forgive and see what he had in store. Luckily, they were not disappointed. The series is adapted from Tom Perrotta's novel of the same name and concerns the leftovers on Earth who are, well, left over after 2% of the population mysteriously disappears.
He ended up writing a book? Oh, right. Right, I didn't read it. I assume he didn't mention me.
The subject matter makes for difficult viewing, as it painfully delves into the complexities of the human psyche, but those who stick around will be infinitely rewarded with some of the best acting and writing in television history. It's a masterpiece in every sense of the word, but it's certainly not for everyone.
Did you ask for my help, Kevin?
Yes.
This is me helping.
Number 5, Succession. Bitter family rivalries and corporate politics partner up to form one insanely entertaining show. When the theme song is dynamic enough to tell a story all on its own, you know the show is special. It doesn't take too long to get fully hooked on the world of Succession. The show introduces audiences to the Roy family and their retinue of associates and rivals. Though the characters and the media conglomerate they squabble over are fictional, there are plenty of comparisons to be made with real life. And with no shortage of awards and critical acclaim in tow, Succession is prestige television at its finest.
I love you, but you are not serious people.
Number 4, Mad Men. On the surface, Mad Men follows the employees of an advertising agency. It sounds boring, and it certainly could have been in the wrong hands.
Campbell, we're both men here, so I'm gonna be direct.
Christ, are you already sleeping with her?
Advertising is a very small world, and when you do something like malign the reputation of a girl from the steno pool on her first day, you make it even smaller.
Luckily, creator and head writer Matthew Weiner is a virtuoso, and he concocted the definitive statement on changing social mores and the counterculture movement of the 1960s.
Do you want me to dismiss her based on the color of her skin?
I said nothing of the kind. I'm merely suggesting a rearrangement of your rearrangement.
Like Deadwood, Mad Men uses the ad agency as a microcosm to explore greater and farther-reaching themes. And it is an absolute masterclass in character development. It's also telling that Mad Men aired throughout the late 2000s and early 2010s, another period rife with changing social mores.
But guess what? There is no Danny's idea. Everything that comes in here belongs to the agency.
You mean you?
As long as you still work here.
It uses the 60s to tell a story of modern times, and it does it in a highly entertaining and stylish fashion. Number 3, The Wire. Typically regarded as one of the best shows ever made, if not the best, The Wire is arguably the most ambitious show ever created.
This the kingpin, all right? And he the man. You get the other dude's king, you got the game. But he trying to get your king too, so you got protected.
The Wire consistently sought lofty heights, and it mostly saw creator David Simon using the television medium to realistically depict the realities of inner-city life and politics.
So look, I'm looking for a stick-up boy named Omar. Dark-skinned, thin guy with a scar right down his face. You boys would definitely know him if you saw him because he's got a shotgun about yay long.
The Wire has consistently garnered acclaim for its realism, and that is largely due to Simon's background as a police reporter at the Baltimore Sun.
Yo, son, come on. Yo, Omar coming, man. Oh, shit!
He knew what was happening on the streets and in the police stations, schools, and government offices. And he used The Wire to accurately and dramatically relay that story.
The cheese stands alone.
It's the great American novel in TV form. Number 2, Breaking Bad. Now, if you want to talk entertaining, let's talk Breaking Bad. This is easily one of the most well-written and tightly plotted shows in history.
You got me.
You'd think the story was planned from the very beginning, as each action has a thrilling consequence, and the story remains fluid and natural throughout its entire run.
Jack, 80 million. And all you've got to do is let him go.
It all culminates in the unbelievably thrilling and emotional Ozymandias, which some critics call the greatest episode of television ever made.
Look, you two guys are just guys, okay? Mr. White, he's the devil.
It also contains a slew of iconic characters, including Mr. Walter White, Jesse Pinkman, and Saul, Mike, and Gus. who were so popular and richly characterized that they received their own, surprisingly excellent spin-off.
What you two need is an honest-to-God businessman, right? Somebody who treats your product like the simple, high-margin commodity that it is.
We've been chasing the high of Breaking Bad since 2013, and nothing has come close. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Sopranos. The Sopranos changed the way television was made, and it legitimized the medium as a serious art form.
So you had coffee.
Right.
While prior shows had garnered their share of acclaim and popularity, TV was always seen as a lesser medium. The Sopranos not only showed that TV could tell dark, complex, and richly thematic stories, it single-handedly launched the golden age of TV dramas. And many of the dramas on this list owe their very existence to The Sopranos.
The Russians? They're not all bad.
How about the Cuban Missile Crisis? Cocksuckers moved nuclear warheads into Cuba, pointed them right at us.
That was real?
Most people expected a traditional gangster story, and while it was that in some ways, it also served as a dark and contemplative look at American life at the turn of the 21st century.
And you said, what kind of animal smokes marijuana at his confirmation?
He was using illegal drugs in the home.
Did it ever occur to you that I might have been self-medicating?
Give me a break, will you?
It's a masterpiece of television, and it has yet to be dethroned. What's your favorite show from this century? Share your love for it in the comments.
And I am very excited for everyone to meet the real me.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.